everyone, so we are from Crypto and here we are gonna explain about the productions of the English consonants. Okay, so start with myself. Here's I'm gonna explain about types of consonants based on the manner of articulations. Okay, so when we classify consonant sounds, one important aspect is the manner of articulations. Manner of articulations refers to how the airflow is modified when a consonant is produced. Based on the manner of articulations, consonants can be divided into several types. First, plosives are produced when the airflow is completely stopped and then released. Examples include p, p, t, t, k, and the last one, and j. Next, frigatives are produced when the airflow passes through a narrow opening that creating frictions. Some examples are f, f, s, and z. Another type is affricates, which the third one, which combine a stop and a fricative. In English, the affricates are t and ch, as in chair and judge. Then we have nasals. Sounds are m, n, and n. And lastly, liquids and clads are produced with partial or minimal obstructions. Which liquids include I and R, while clads include M and J. In conclusions, the manner of articulations explain on how consonant sounds are produced based on airflow. And I think that's all from my explanations. And here I have like 4 questions from my explanations. And the first one is, can you guys explain what is meant by manner of articulations in your own words? And the second one is, what is the main difference between plosives and fricatives? And the third one is, which type of consonant involves airflow through the nose? And the last question is, can you guys give us one example of an affricate sound in English? And I think that's all from me. The next explanations will be explained by my friends.
Other schemes of consonant classification. Okay, I'm going to talk about another way to classify consonants by dividing them into sonorants and obstruents. This classification is based on how much the airflow is blocked when we speak. The key concept here is the degree of stricture, which refers to how close the speech organs like the tongue and lip come together. There are different degrees, degree 1, degree 2, and degree 3, depending on how narrow the passage becomes. Let's start with obstruents. Obstruents are sounds made when the airflow is blocked or squeezed. This blockage causes pressure to build up and often creates noisy sounds. Because of this, it's hard for the vocal cords to keep vibrating, so obstruents are often voiceless. Example of obstruent is p, t, s, and each other. Now let's move to sonorants. Sonorants are sounds made when the airflow moves smoothly without much blockage. Since the airflow freely, the vocal cords can vibrate easily. So sonorants are usually voiced. The example is and, l, w, and vowels like a and I. So this classification helps us understand how speech sounds are produced and why they sound the way they do.
Okay, that's all, but I have a question. Number 1, what makes sonorants different from obstruent in how the airflow moves? Number 2, why do obstruent often become voiceless when produced? Number 3, how does the degree of stricture helps classify consonant sounds? Number 4, give one obstruent sound and explain how it blocks or restricts airflow. Number 5, why can vowels be grouped with sonorants even though they are not consonants? Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Princess Akian Aditya with student ID 123241145, And today in this presentation, I'm going to explain how consonants are described in phonetics, especially through articulate description. So, when linguists describe consonant sounds, we usually follow a simple formula, which is voicing plus place of articulation plus manner of articulations. This formula helps us describe consonant in a clear and systematic way. First, let's talk about voicing. Voicing refers to whether the vocal cords vibrate when a sound is produced. For example, the sound b, b, meaning the vocal cords vibrate, while p, p is voiceless because there's no vibration. We can easily feel the difference by touching our throat while pronouncing the sounds b, b, p, p. Next is place of articulations. This refers to where in the vocal tract the sound is produced. For instance, the sound t is alveolar sound, which means it is produced when the tongue touches the alveolar ridge just behind the teeth. Th, th. Meanwhile, k is a velar sound because it's produced in the back of the mouth, near the volume. K, k. The last component is matters of articulations. Manner describe how the airflow is modified when producing a sound. For example, t is plosive because the airflow is completely stopped and then released. On the other hand, z is a fricative because the airflow passes through a narrow opening creating friction. So, using these three components together allows us to describe consonants very precisely. For example, p can describe as voiceless bilabial plosive. The sound z is voice alveolar fricative. Overall, this articulatory system is important because it gives us a consistent way to analyze and compare consonant sounds across language. By understanding voicing, place, and manner of articulation, we can describe every consonant accurately and scientifically. So, the question from this material is, first, based on the articular description, what makes the sound p and b different? Second, can you explain why t and k have the same manner of articulation but different place of articulation? Third, choose one consonant sound and describe it using voicing, place, and manner of articulations. Fourth, why do you think articulatory description is important in linguistics, especially when comparing sounds across different languages?
Hello everyone, my name is Fendi Dewa Putra Siswandi. My student number is 123241170. Today I'm going to presentation about the varieties of English accents. English accents vary widely across the world. This difference can be heard in the pronunciation of vowels and consonants, as well as in rhythm and intonation. Some accents are considered standard, such as receive pronunciation or general American, while others strongly reflect local identity and culture. First, let's look at British accents. One well-known variety is received pronunciation, or RP. It is often called BBC English and is associated with prestige. RP is not tied to a specific region in the UK. Next, we have American accents. The most common one is General American, which is natural and widely used in media, such as movie and news. Another variety is Canadian English. It is similar to General American, but it has a unique feature called Canadian raising, where words like a boat may sound like a boot. Moving on to Australian English, this accent has distinct vowel sounds and rising intonation. It has several varieties, ranging from broad to cultivate. New Zealand English is similar to Australian English, but it has a unique vowel sounds. For example, fish and chips may sound like fus and tubes. Finally, there are many global varieties of English, such as Indian English, American English, and Caribbean English. These accents are influenced by local language and culture. Now, I have 4 questions for audience. The first one, what are the main differences that distinguish English accent across regions? Second question, why is received pronunciation or RP considered a standard accent in British English? Third, how is Canadian English different from general American English? And the last question, how do local language and culture influence global varieties of English accents? Thank you, that is for me.